These delicate little dumplings are called Xiaolongbao. They're filled to the brim with piping hot pork broth. But how does the soup get in there? What's the secret to getting those perfect folds? And what's the right way to eat it without burning your tongue? When it comes to Chinese food, few dishes are as recognizable as the bao. Simply put, it's a dough wrapper with filling. But there are so many variations in China, so we'll look at different baos and show you how they're made and the story behind them. We're at Nanxiang Steamed Bun Restaurant. This place has been around for over 120 years, and it's famous for its soup dumplings. The Chinese name Xiaolongbao means little caged buns, and refers to the steamer baskets used to cook them. They can be found all over the world, but they originally came from here. The story goes that a guy was wrapping dumplings one day when he decided to add aspic into the filling of his pork bao. When he steamed it, the aspic melted into soup, and thus the soup dumpling was born.
我是南翔馒头店的厨师长尤玉明，也是南翔小笼技艺的第6代非遗传承人。比方说，我们是在7个小时里面，工作时间要包128笼，每笼小笼包16只。我1996年来到南翔馒头店，至今已经24个年头了。最早的时候，我们就是一个班级有很多同学一起来的，然后随着这个比较枯燥的，可以说是用枯燥来说比较无趣的那个包捏小笼的这个制作工艺啊，其实最早的一起来的同学在前2年，就是来的第1、第2年就基本上已经就不从事这个工作了。
So, how is a soup dumpling made? There are 2 main components, the skin and the filling. The filling is made with ground pork and aspic. Aspic is made by boiling pork skin and bones for 4 hours. Pork skin is high in collagen, so when it cools down, it becomes a gelatin. When it's steamed, it turns back to liquid again. The aspic is then mixed with ground pork to form this.
我们的小笼包特点在于我们的线性，它没有加任何复合调料，是讲究食材的好坏。比方说，我们里面没有葱姜，没有麻油，没有酱油，没有复合调料，就是你吃到嘴里，你是吃到猪肉的原来的食材的味道。
Then the dumpling skin is made with flour and water and left to rest.
现在这是一块已经醒发过的那个面团，是有高筋粉、中筋粉几种面粉混合而成的。为什么要用那么多面粉呢？主要是做小笼包制作的时候，打每个褶的时候需要劲道，所以我们要用不同面筋的褶。我刚才用铲板把它切条，然后现在是搓条。搓条一定要手根部的力气，将中间往边上搓条。
The skin is flattened using 2 methods, hand pressing and with rolling pins. The hand-pressed method is the oldest method, though there are some downsides.
完全是用手不能做到标准化，因为每个人的手大小不一样。
So there's the rolling pin method.
所以双擀的比较均匀，厚薄均匀，比单擀的要好很多。大家看到我手上拿的是2根擀棒，这个擀棒呢叫双擀，然后它擀出来的皮呢面筋是7厘米，这是我们的流程标准。然后是太阳形的，就是当真厚，边上薄。边上为什么薄？是用来过一会儿给小笼包打褶，褶越多，小笼包就越漂亮。
The filling is placed inside, and the whole thing is wrapped with at least 16 pleats.
其实是这样的，小笼包我们的标准是16个褶，但是我们有的好的师傅基本上能包到20几个，甚至30个。有的师傅他 心比较静，慢一点，它包了慢一点，那褶多一点；有的师傅比较急，他包了快一点，那褶就比较少。跟这个小笼包的褶是关于小笼包外形的美观而言的，最主要的是褶打好以后顶头要薄，否则你吃的小笼包底部就薄了，顶头就厚了，吃在嘴里就会有面疙瘩的感觉，就会有一块蒸不熟的白色的东西。所以包捏小笼包的时候一定要注意这些，就是包捏技巧，我们这里说就是关键点。
After they're wrapped, the soup dumplings are steamed and then delivered to tables within half a minute.
以前不是专门说嘛，冷特小笼不要钞票，说冷的小笼你不付钱，皮冻它温度一低，它会有凝固度，所以小笼包要趁它热的时候是汤汁，所以说一定要趁热的吃。我们每个桌子离厨房基本上不到半分钟的路，这样能够让顾客吃到小笼包呢比较好吃。
And how do you eat it?
小笼包破了就不好吃了，没吃到那包汤，等于这个小笼包白吃。所以我们要轻轻提，把小笼包用筷子轻轻提起来。这时候小笼包很烫的，你不能一大口往嘴里塞。很多顾客因为急着吃小笼包，尝尝味道，觉得这么小往嘴巴里，特别男同志嘛，一口一只嘛，都会那个眼泪都要出来，因为烫坏了嘛，90度。左右，你想看不要烫坏了嘛？然后应该是放在嘴口，然后轻轻咬一口，把汤汁直接吮掉也可以，就要倒在那个勺子里面把汤喝下去也可以。然后第二步就是蘸着醋，然后吃皮和肉，分2口嚼下去，或者男同志1口嚼下去都可以。很多人小笼包一上桌，他觉得烫，他去蘸醋，这步骤一做呢，这小笼包就是还没吃呢，就是酸的就不好吃了。其实吃小笼包的讲究是就是很重要的，很多人不会吃小笼包，我们都每张桌子都写清楚的。
In eastern China, there's a giant dumpling the size of a bagel that's filled to the brim with soup and a lot of crab roe.
我们这边做的最大的汤包，我们做的是500克的汤包一个。按照标准的话，我们现在是这个标准，我们现在这个6个汤包的标准是140克左右。
汤包的皮子相对比较薄，里面的汤汁味道非常鲜美，馅料呢油而不腻，一个字棒。
So, how does the soup get inside, and how do you eat this thing? We're still in eastern China. Apart from the regular-sized soup dumplings you find in most places, there's also this, a giant soup dumpling called Tangbao that's made with soup, pork, and lots of crab roe. Legend has it that it was invented in the 3rd century, but it really became popular in the 18th century when a Chinese emperor visited the region, loved it, and told everyone about it. Soup dumplings come in all shapes and sizes, and this one is about twice as big as a standard Xiaolongbao. It still needs a delicate skin, but it should also be strong enough to hold all the soup.
我叫缪祥红，我是江苏晋江红印酒楼的一名汤包师傅。
Miao has been making giant soup dumplings for over 2 decades.
我是19岁跟晋江汤包名师万俊学徒。我们这个面粉是用的那个广州产的那个牡丹粉，因为它这个粉它筋比较大，我们要求就是要高筋粉。这个下机到搅拌机里边去搅到它光滑之后，再上压面机压。
The dough is left to rest. Meanwhile, Miao works in the filling, which is mostly made with crab roe.
现在我们的那个螃蟹大多数都是一个供应商。原来是我们那个计划经济时代的时候是毛蟹是100笼15斤，现在发展到我们现在就是蟹肉100笼将近30斤了，这是一个巨大的区别。 它这个中华龙王号蟹呢，它这个吃到嘴里啊，它这个蟹肉它有一股甜味。这个一般的螃蟹，我们看它的质量的话，只是你看这螃蟹是不是活的，死的螃蟹肯定是不能用，这绝对不能用。
The crabs come from lakes along the Yangtze River. They're usually raised on farms such as this one. Crab season runs from September to December. They can be eaten on their own or cooked into various dishes.
我们先选螃蟹，螃蟹选回来呢，要上笼屉蒸熟，大约18分钟时间。在这个车螃蟹呢，这个程序还是比较多的，大约十几道工序。把这个螃蟹肉拆下来之后，再放在那边。
Then it's time to make the filling.
我们再把这个肉皮上面的多余的脂肪全部去掉，再和那个老母鸡大桶湖汤一起熬大约总计大约在6个小时左右，出锅之后呢，让它再4度冷却。
Pig skin is full of collagen. When it's cooked, the collagen breaks down. And when it cools, it solidifies into gelatin. But heat it up again and it will melt into a soup. The gelatin is crushed and mixed together with the crab meat, roe, and a tiny bit of pork. The crab is the main attraction. The pork adds an extra depth of flavor. Then it's time to assemble the actual soup dumpling. First, the skin is rolled out.
必须用这种这个杆子吹起来的皮呢，才大约在13公分左右直径，皮才能达到我们这个汤包达到140左右，才能包得下这么个重量。一根的话，它是杆的，它可能会出现那个用力不匀的话，它会出现一个皮上面有一种伤痕。用2根杆子杆的，它就是上后吹的它比较均匀。做汤包最困难的话，它应该是目前的话我们看来是包的人比较。这个汤包折呢，大约在28到33之间。为什么呢？它低于28个，你可能包不起来，不得收口；大于33的时候，可能那个花纹太多的话，可能那个做头就太大了。你这个包了汤包的成功，在最后就是蒸制上面，蒸制大约在4分半钟到5分钟时间，可能在5分钟左右的时候，把那个笼帽拉开，看一下这个成熟度怎么样。这个是要靠一个长时间的观察和凭自己经验再来确定它。做汤包的时间大约我学了2年时间，因为不是你看着很简单的每道工序，你比如像和面、搓条、放剂，你没有一定的时间沉淀和那个实践，你肯定是做不了。
So, how do you eat it? Contrary to popular belief, definitely not with a straw.
这个用吸管呢，这是这个汤包的温度，里边的汤料温度是很高的。为什么呢？用吸管的时候，当吸管你用力的时候，一下子把汤包里边的汤吸进去的时候，可能会烫到你的气管。在这里边就可能自己控制自己的温度，好像是吸的多一点少一点，慢慢的吞下去。我们这个汤包晋江有这个口诀，就是轻轻提，快快移，先开窗后喝汤，最后一扫光。 汤包这个变化是很大的。我学徒的时候，那个时候一天我们做了100笼到200笼的样子。我们现在平常正常的最少的还得一天做200笼。这个随着这个社会经济的发展，吃汤包的人，原来是一种奢侈品，现在就是一种像普通老百姓，只要老百姓都能吃，这就是社会发展好。
Throughout this series, most of the baos we featured have been steamed. But today, we're in Xinjiang, where these angular buns are baked in an oven called a tandoor. Traditionally, baked buns are made in these clay ovens, which are common in southern, central, and western Asia. But it's much easier to control the temperature in these gas-powered ones. This bao is a traditional Uyghur specialty, accented by the sharp flavors of chili peppers and cumin. It can be found across Central Asia and is usually sold in the street as a hot snack. We met this guy in the city of Urumqi.
这是我15年我开的黄面烤肉店，前面加一个炉子，请了一个师傅打了烤包子，然后喜欢上这个行业，我自学，16年开始开这个烤包子店，将近有6年了。
The main ingredient is wheat flour from Tian Shan, a mountain range in Central Asia. It's combined with egg, water, salt, and oil. The egg is what makes the bun a bit yellow. It also acts as a mild leavening agent. Every day, these ingredients are mixed together, and the dough is left to rest overnight. Then it's kneaded out by hand and divided into individual pieces, which are then rolled out into thin wrappers. The meat is made with chunks of fresh beef.
我们自己到市场买新鲜的肉、新鲜的辣椒，这些原料是我们自己出去买回来，达到最好的程度。
The beef is seasoned with black pepper, cumin, salt, and 2 other types of peppers.
我们的特色是有红辣椒，有绿辣椒，有一点酸辣，小孩大人都喜欢吃。烤包是皮子上面倒馅儿，然后四面对正就行了。一个皮子达到30克。馅儿达到40克到42克。
Then it's time to bake them. Because the walls of a tandoor are thicker than a regular oven, the inside temperature is much higher. Water is sprayed into the oven, and the buns are stuck on the side.
首先是把烤包子温度调好完了以后。洒水，洒完水，后面再洒盐水，盐水洒完以后开始烤包子，烤完在烤包子的面上再洒水。
Salt water helps the bao stick to the walls of the stove, and spraying water keeps the bun moist.
然后把那个炉子盖子盖好。盖到8到10分钟，然后把盖子打开，放火，然后把盖子盖一半，5到6分钟，烤包就熟了。
In a tandoor, the surface of a bread that's stuck to the oven will cook to a crisp, while the other side fluffs up.
每天大概要做多少个烤包子？
现在的天气，冬天。3000到3500，夏天6000到8000。好的烤包子和不好的烤包子区别味道。
好的烤包子和不好的烤包子区别在哪里？
大到位，盐大到位， 肉，所有的原料达到位，这是好的味道。肉少、油多、盐多，这是不好的味道。做这个店的时候，最支持的是我爱人，我媳妇儿。早晨跟我一块儿起来，跟我一块儿到店里，晚上跟我一块儿回去。我不在的时候，所有的店里的员工，被他来管。大部分的事情就是他来做店里面的。最满足的部分是我成功了，做这个行业我成功了。